Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Chapter 1. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. However little known the feelings or views of such a man may be on his first entering a neighborhood, this truth is so well fixed in the minds of the surrounding families that he is considered as the rightful property of some or other of their daughters. "My dear Mr. Bennet," said his lady to him one day, "have you heard that Netherfield Park is let at last?" Mr. Bennet replied that he had not. "But it is," returned she, "for Mrs. Long has just been here, and she told me all about it." Mr. Bennet made no answer. "Do you not want to know who has taken it?" cried his wife impatiently. "You want to tell me, and I have no objection to hearing it." This was invitation enough. "Why, my dear, you must know Mrs. Long says that Netherfield is taken by a young man of a large fortune from the north of England, that he came down on Monday in a chaise and four to see the place, and was so much delighted with it that he agreed with Mr. Morris immediately that he is to take possession before Michaelmas, and some of his servants are to be in the house by the end of next week." "What is his name?" "Bingley." "Is he married or single?" "Oh, single, my dear, to be sure. A single man of large fortune, 4,000 or 5,000 a year. What a fine thing for our girls." "How so? How can it affect them?" "Oh, my dear Mr. Bennet," replied his wife, "how can you be so tiresome? You must know that I am thinking of his marrying one of them." "Is that his design in settling here?" "Design? Nonsense! How can you talk so? But it is very likely that he may fall in love with one of them, and therefore you must visit him as soon as he comes." "I see no occasion for that. You and the girls may go, or you can send them by themselves, which perhaps will be still better, as you are far handsomer. For as you are as handsome as any of them, Mr. Bingley might like you the best of the party." "My dear, you flatter me. I certainly have had my share of beauty, but I do not pretend to be anything extraordinary now. When a woman has 5 grown-up daughters, she ought to give over thinking of her own beauty." "In such cases, a woman has not often much beauty to think of." "But, my dear, you must indeed go and see Mr. Bingley when he comes to the neighborhood." "It is more than I engage for, I assure you." "But consider your daughters. Only think what an establishment it would be for one of them. Sir William and Lady Lucas are determined to go, merely on that account, for in general, you know, they visit no newcomers. Indeed, you must go, for it will be impossible for us to visit if you do not." "You are over-scrupulous, surely. I dare say Mr. Bingley will be very glad to see you, and I will send a few lines by you to assure him of my hearty consent to his marrying whichever he chooses of the girls, though I might throw in a good word for my little Lizzie." "I desire you will do no such thing. Lizzie is not a bit better than the others, and I am sure she is not half so handsome as Jane, nor half so good-humoured as Lydia, but you are always giving her the preference." "They have none of them much to recommend them," replied he. "They are all silly and ignorant, like the other girls, but Lizzie has something more of a quickness than her sisters." "Mr. Bennet, how can you abuse your own children in such a way? You take delight in vexing me. You have no compassion for my poor nerves." "You mistake me, my dear. I have a high respect for your nerves. They are my old friends. I have heard you mention them with consideration these 20 years at least." "You do not know what I suffer." "But I hope you will get over it, and live to see many young men of 4,000 a year come into the neighborhood." "It will be no use to us if 20 such should come, since you will not visit them." "Depend upon it, my dear, that when there are 20, I will visit them all." Mr. Bennet was so odd a mixture of quick parts, sarcastic humor, reserve, and caprice, that the experience of 23 years had been insufficient to make his wife understand his character. Her mind was less difficult to develop. She was a woman of mean understanding, little information, and uncertain temper. When she was discontented, she fancied herself nervous. The business of her life was to get her daughters married. Its solace was visiting and news. I think it's interesting that the book starts from Mrs. Bennet's perspective. An opinion I have about Pride and Prejudice that I know not everyone holds is that I think Mr. Bennet is the worst of the two Bennet parents. And I think this chapter justifies my feelings in that a lot, this first chapter. Mrs. Bennet, she's abrasive and she can be rude, which makes her outwardly the least pleasant, I think, of both of them. But Mr. Bennet is just as rude. And he doesn't care. Mrs. Bennet just boils over with this earnestness. She doesn't hide her feelings. She maybe doesn't understand them. She maybe doesn't express them in a way that's very productive, but she doesn't hide them. And Pride and Prejudice was written in an age where, for women, in England at this time, the best way for you to live a comfortable life was to marry a rich man. And I think, I don't know, you can kind of see that tension in the Bennet parents' relationship, because they're definitely not married for love. Mrs. Bennet, I feel like she has this idea that she has to be devoted to Mr. Bennet, even if she doesn't really like him. And Mr. Bennet has no such devotion in turn. So, even though he's smarter than her, I think he's crueler than her. Because he's smarter, because he has the, I guess, faculties to do things to ensure a future for his children, the fact that he doesn't do it makes it all the more unpleasant, unsympathetic. He's nasty, you know? He's more concerned with how funny he is to himself and creating situations that he finds amusing than he is in recognizing the actual humanity within the people of his life. And I think this chapter, even though it's only like 900 words, I think it puts that into a neat little thing, because, I mean, obviously this book is dripping with irony. You just got to talk about the opening few sentences. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man of good fortune must be in want of a wife. A rich guy who's not married must want to be, or at least that's what the mythology is. That's what people think. He's unmarried, and he's new, and he's novel, and he's loaded. So he is all of a sudden an asset that must be acquired by all the families in the neighborhood that he moved into, who have unmarried daughters, because it's not like necessarily love is the goal. Like, for most of human history, love has never, at least in the West, love has not really been the reason rich people like this get married. The reason you get married is to connect the families, and I think that's a theme that is explored throughout this novel a lot. So this guy, Mr. Bingley, he's coming into the neighborhood, and Mrs. Bennet is in that, cultural mindset of, okay, I have 5 unmarried daughters who have no inheritance, who have no lifelines, really, if they don't get married. So I need to get my family connected to this rich family that can provide for all of us if my husband dies. And she married her husband to live a comfortable life herself. So she's being solution-minded, even if she's being silly, in the way that she expresses it. This is the solution to a woman's problem that she has been presented with, that she herself has took. So she's doing what she can to give that solution to her daughters, who she loves even if she doesn't understand. And I think, I don't know, the novel's, I would say the novel's central conflict, the push and pull between wanting to be, not necessarily wanting to be with someone you love, but not wanting to be with someone who you don't have any affection for your whole life. You know? It's all about the politics, the sacrifice of marriage. If I marry Mr. Bingley and I don't like him, is all of the social benefits, all of the money and power that I will have in that position worth being with someone who I don't like? And I think the sort of Lizzie's assertion will be, no, it won't be worth it. And I think one of the most interesting relationships that will get several days down the line is Charlotte and her conviction that, yeah, even if I don't like someone, the benefits of being married to them are more important to me. And I think that's interesting, and it's funny how much you can pack into 900 words. Anyway, see you tomorrow.